about 15 years ago or something, all of a sudden there was this new element in the telling of the tale, which included a feud between Robert Shaw and myself, of which there was none. And I felt honored to be his acting partner. I think that Robert Shaw is the largest personality I have ever met on this earth. And this is a man who gave an Oscar-winning performance in Man for All Seasons that took 1 day to shoot. He did the whole fucking performance in 1 day, and he won the Oscar. And I am incredibly impressed with his talent as a writer and as an actor. And it is true that Robert had my number. You know, when someone has your number and you can't escape it, he would say to me, "You can't do 25 sit-ups." Now I could, but if he said I couldn't, I couldn't. And one day he said, you don't have the courage to dive off the top of the Orca, the workboat, and dive into the harbor. And so I couldn't. Now I'm a good swimmer, and I could. It's as simple as that. But I couldn't. So it's not so simple. And when Robert said I couldn't do something, I couldn't. And it was not a big deal because he was the most graceful, intelligent raconteur of stories, and I could just listen to him forever. And one day he was trying to negotiate walking down from the top of the Orca to the bottom, and he had a glass of bourbon in his hands, and he said, "Help me out, will you, Richard?" And I said, "You really want me to help you out?" And he said, "Yes." And I took the bourbon and threw it into the water. And every drinker on the crew went, "Ooh, ooh." And I had committed a terrible faux pas. And Robert, who already had the most paranoid eyes in history, he went. And then the next shot was me at the cleats of the boat, trying desperately to unthread the ropes and getting pounded by the water. And behind the camera, Robert took the fire hose and aimed it directly at my face. And that was the only day that I ever lost my sense of humor. But that was it. That was the only day. And we got over it, and I got over it. And some 20 years later, all of a sudden, there's news about this feud, and it just wasn't so. But anyone who watched us from the public level would see that he would dig at me in public, which I just didn't care, because he was Robert fucking Shaw. And if he wants to spit in my direction, hey man, right there. And he was a great actor, a great friend. He was an enormity. And he once jumped up from the bunk that we were taking a rest in, and he said, "I know, I'll play Claudius to your Hamlet if you'll play the fool to my Lear. And I said, you got it, but not for 10 years. And he said, why? And I said, because you'll blow me off the stage, that's why. And I'm not gonna let that happen. So that was our deal.